So this is the seal that comes with the Outlander stock. You can see how it's just kind of this foam material. It deteriorates, whatever, however you say that word, relatively quick. So I've got two different kinds here. This black one I'm not going to use. This one I accidentally ordered from Amazon. This one is from Outsiders Motor Company, or Outside Motor Company. I can't remember how you say it, but you can look them up. Outside Motor Company. And it's a really stiff kind of, it's not really stiff, but it's got, you can see, it's got some weight to it, I guess, is how I'd say it. So what I need to do is I need to take off this old seal and get this cleaned up real nicely. So if you pull it off relatively quickly after you buy your machine, pretty easy to get all of that adhesive off. You can see how clean mine is. You're going to want every bit of it off there because it is a challenge to get these new seals on because there's a lot more compression that happens there. But rest assured, this is going to keep water out. This is going to keep dust out. It's going to keep your filter cleaner longer. To do this, to actually get it on there though, 18 millimeter socket, okay? 18 millimeter socket. You got to push really hard and then turn. Got it. Once that seal compresses over a period of time, a couple months, it'll be easier and you can do it by hand. But the first time you do it, you're going to need an 18 millimeter. Next, I want to adjust my shocks. The stock setting that these Outlanders come with is way too plush and soft for the type of riding that we do. On the front, I've already moved it up one click. You can see right here, I'm on the second to the last notch. I might eventually go to the last notch for maximum stiffness, but right now I'm gonna rock and roll with that. On the back, you can see we're on the third notch. I want that on the fourth notch as well. I just don't need that plush of a ride. A lot of the times when we're running trails, I might get a little air. I want stiffness in my shock, a little bit more stiff. So ride comes with, first of all, let me show you this. This is the little tool pouch that comes with the Outlanders, sticking right in this back hole in the trunk. And this is how you adjust your shock. So you can see you've got this funky little wrench here. Now if I just push on it, I can work up to that next notch. But it's very hard to do, so I wear a glove because this thing will kind of cut into you. And I also jack it up to give some relief to that shock absorber, and that seems to help tremendously. So I gotta adjust these back too. I've already adjusted the front. Really no way to get in there. Probably go get me a different glove. Oh, this one's not near as bad. The front had a lot more tension on it than this one. I think that's it. Yeah. So now I'm on the fourth notch. That was easy. The front's a lot tighter. Much, much tighter. Which makes me think I might actually end up going to I might go all the way stiffness on the back. So yeah, that was much, much easier than the front. You can see this little notch right here. I'm on, I think, the fourth notch. I have one more notch of stiffness that I can go to, and I might eventually go to that, but much easier on the rear than on the front. The next thing I want to do to this machine is put a new synthetic rope on it. I do not like the steel cables. It's only a matter of time until it either breaks or snaps, and it can cause some serious damage if you're in the way of it, if you don't have like a blanket to put over it or whatever. They're just dangerous. I don't like them, and I hate how hard they are on your winch when they get tangled up or you know, a line gets overlapped and you can't get it all the way out, it's just not worth messing with, even though it's brand new, never been used. I went ahead and pulled it all the way out. I've got to take this fair lead off, and I've got this new winch cable. Now this is a 1/4 inch synthetic line. I think it's rated for around 8,000 pounds, something like that. Got it on Amazon, and it came with the hook and the bump stop as well, which I really like, but it did not come with the fair lead. I've got a new fair lead as well. This is the fair lead that I went with. It's from superatv.com, and I like that it's black. It's kind of plain Jane, that's all I need. But more importantly, it lines up with the holes that are already there. I can't remember the distance that this is apart, like 4 7/8 or 4 13/16, something like that. But anyways, this particular fair lead will work just fine. And it's the universal fair lead from Super ATV. So first things first, I need to take this fair lead off just so that I can access the winch cable to essentially take the winch cable off because of the way they've got it attached to the winch. So I need to take this bolt out and this bolt out. Got to get rid of that fair lead anyways. Let's get going. Something that I do not have is a socket style Allen wrench, so I'm just having to use this. This is an 8mm, and it's fitting just fine. And on the back side, it's a 15mm. Love this skill. Right angled wrench, whatever it's called. Ratcheting end wrench. No problem there. I've got to get me a set of Allen sockets, Allen style sockets. I like that the fair lead was secured with a nice locking nut. Winch cable is in. That wasn't too bad. Next is the fair lead, and I did have to drill out these holes because I wanted to use the OEM bolts and nuts. The Super ATV fair lead did not come with any bolts or nuts, so not a big deal. I just drilled it out just enough. These barely did not fit, but it's going to look nice when it's installed. Let's put this thing on. There we go, fair lead's on. Now we need to put on our hook. Perfect. That is a nice install. Two more really big items to install on this rig, and I'll be just about done with it. There is a third item, but we'll get to that. These are the two big ones that really need to be installed, especially this one before I take it to the Ozarks trail riding. So this is my cell phone holder and charger. You can see on the back of it, it's got this flip switch where you can go from USB to wireless charging. Now I've got a Google Pixel phone that accepts wireless charging, so I just leave my phone, the display on all the time when we're riding. But you can see here at the bottom, if yours doesn't have wireless charging, it does have a USB, and it's a really fast charging USB too. I charge the my action camera batteries off of that USB port all the time. Works really well. It just hardwires up, but I got to figure out where I'm going to put it, because on the Kawasaki, I had a little bit more room. I don't know where I'm going to put it on here. I really like it on my left side, but there's just not a whole lot of handlebar accessible on that left side. So I'm thinking I might have to put it right here. We'll just have to see. I'm not taking this shield off. I know that. I like the guard, the hand guards or whatever. They're pretty nice. But anyways, I got to put this on, and then the light bar isn't too bad. I think I'm going to mount it just like we mounted Josh's on his. probably right up front here. That seems to not only work the best, it looks the best. So these little light bars are great too. I can't even remember where we got them at, Amazon or eBay, one of the two. This cell phone charger and holder I got on Amazon. There's the brand. So there we go. I think I've decided on this location. That's pretty much the only location I can mount it because you've got a big, nice amount of open bar here. So I still need to tighten this up, but I'll be able to kind of move it around, and it doesn't really impair my vision to the four-wheel drive or the ITC mode or whatever that is, intelligent throttle control. So yeah, that's, I mean, you see if you're sitting on it, that's not bad. That's pretty good. So I'm gonna go with that. Now I just need to wire it up. But that's, I'm overall, I'm pretty happy. I believe on my Kawasaki it was on the left side. I was used to it being on the left. But that's okay that it's on the right. Not a problem. Show you guys what's been going on here. First of all, it's been a couple days since I first tore into this thing. And I ran into an issue. These are the mounts that I have always used for light bars. And this is the one that came off of my Kawasaki. But you can see the rack on my Kawasaki, this bar is much smaller, about a ½ inch smaller than this bar. So this one's not working out, even with different rubber inserts. So, and you can see I've tried a lot of different ones, kind of crazy. So anyways, I got a new one, a new bracket. Let me find it real quick. Yeah, here we go. So this is the new bracket. It's just a little bit larger, comes with more of these rubber inserts. These rubber inserts, or whatever you want to call them, they actually grip a lot better. It's not just about protecting the bar. It's about actually gripping the bar. So those finally came in. Oops. Those finally came in, so I can hopefully finish this light bar mount. Back here, just to give you guys a little update, the phone mount is installed, and I had to run the wires down through. I did a real nice, neat job. I ran all the wires through the stock zip ties. So you can see, like right there, that's a stock zip tie. And here's the wire right here running down through it. Ran all the way down. You can see here's power wire. I'm waiting to zip tie everything at once. That's why this is loose, but I had to make a couple solder connections here. Everything's looking really good, but everything that I've ran thus far is went through stock factory zip ties all the way back to the battery. So I'm ready to wire up or hardwire the phone mount permanently. But no sense in doing that until I get the light bar completely ran. And you can see I still got this wire to run. It looks complicated. It's really not. It's pretty easy to do. Here's the switch. That wire just runs to the switch. I've got to run this switch down through the steering column as well. Not sure where I'm going to mount this one. Josh, on his bike, we mounted it somewhere up here above the air filter, and his ended up coming off. I did put a new 3M sticky pad thing on mine, so it should stick really well wherever I put it. But that's where I'm at on the machine. I'm gonna get back to it up front here, try to get this light bar mounted so that I can get it wired up. How does that look? That didn't take too long. And it's nice and sturdy. That rubber really grips the front rack very well. So really nice. I've got the wire just running down just loosely right here. So you can barely see it. When you're looking at the machine, where's the wire at? You don't really even see it. It's right there. It goes in right there. It'd be even less noticeable if my Can-Am were black like Josh and Matt's. But really you can't even see it in the shadows like that. So we'll come around here. Here's my connections. Barely had enough wire, as you can see. I'm using these little dudes. Waterproof crimp and shrink butt splice. So I've got those crimped and shrunk on there. Now I'm just going to take some electrical tape, wrap those up really nicely, and then I'll go ahead and take a zip tie and tie those dudes up. So this is how I'm doing it. I've determined that this 20 amp fuse is an accessory fuse, and basically all this is going to do is this is going to tell the light switch that there is power and the key is turned on. So only when I start the machine will my LED light bar actually come on. Now, because of this waterproof seal around the edge of the light box, I just went ahead and drilled a hole right through the top of the box, and I've got some Lexel in there. So now I'm going to be able to turn this thing over and kind of stuff that wire. Let's see, I got to make sure I put it on correctly. I'm going to be able to kind of stuff that wire up inside that box, and I'm going to have my second hand, so I'll show you what's going on after this. Well, there we go. I'm getting it, slowly but surely. All right, there we go. We're clicked in. Now I can Lexel around that hole, and I should be back to watertight. Right now, our LED lights are off on our switch. I'm going to hit the power button. I'm going to flip it over to run. There's our LED light. Look at there. Very nice. Now we turn it off, and that light should kill here in just a couple seconds. Probably when this clicks off. I think I just heard a click. Yep, there we go. All right, so LED light bar won't drain my battery now. The lights aren't lit up at all times. Simple. It's not a big deal. Nice, easy fix. Next modification to the Outlander 850. Just like any other machine, the Outlander does not come without problems. There are potential failure points on the machine, just like my Kawasaki had. I addressed those issues immediately on the Kawasaki, and I will address the issues that the Outlanders have immediately as well. And they have one major issue that really needs fixed immediately. Let me show you what it is. Turn you around here. The shift linkage, or whatever you call this thing, basically this point right here, this is plastic. This particular piece has been known to break or snap, especially in cold weather. So there is a company that actually makes one, CNC machined aluminum, that is a direct placement fit. So I am going to install this right now. Uh-oh. So you have to disconnect this shift arm, which is no big deal. It's just a T30 and a 10 millimeter nut on the back side, and this little collar sleeve that slips in between. Got to disconnect that, and then you can turn this thing around and you can take this lock nut off of the actual shift arm. So this is a pretty easy install here. That's the factory shift link bracket, or whatever you want to call it, the one that'll break and leave you stranded. And there's the new machined aluminum one. I even put the zip tie back and strapped all these factory wiring looms back up, and my aftermarket wires. Got those ran up in there nice and neat. I am just about ready to put some covers back on. I'm one thing at a time. That's one more project done on this bike. Next on the agenda is this seal that goes around the trunk. You can see there's a split right there in the seal. These things, well, first of all, why would they, put a split in it? It's not going to be waterproof for very long. I know Josh's bike has already had a failure in that department. So we've got a replacement seal. I'm just going to take, even though this one's brand new, I hate to do it, but you know, it's just one of these little problems that Can-Am needs to address this stuff. It's just little fit and finish issues, right? So this goes in the trash. And then I've got this one from, once again, I believe the company is Outside Motorsports or something like that. I can't remember. But one piece, no split, nice and thick. This thing's going to be waterproof. And you literally just press it in. Like there's no, this is an easy, 2-minute job right here. It's not the cheapest seal, but it's supposed to last forever. So I just assume be done with it because I'm going to have some nice stuff back here that I don't want getting wet. My Kawasaki had the nice trunk space up front, up out of the water. And I loved that little compartment. It had one on both sides. I stored stuff in there all the time. I actually had a sealed one on the left side and just the cargo net on the right side, excuse me. But the sealed one on the left side, man, I kept stuff in there all the time. Loved it, loved it, loved it. It always stayed very dry. Never an ounce of moisture in there. So I've got to have something. I've absolutely got to have something. And this thing looks way too big. Check that out. So I must have accidentally stretched it when I was putting it in live on camera. But it fits perfect now. So I just took a little bit of it out and worked it back in. And yeah, perfect. So now I got to make sure this thing closes. Over time, it will crease that seal. And after a couple weeks, they say it'll just fit. Nice and tight, watertight. But the first time you close it, yep, super, super tight. There we go. Got it locked in. Let that set for a couple weeks and it should be easy open close. Nice tight seal. Another job out of the way. Well, how does that look? Got my Rotopack storage container over here. My fuel tank over here, just like I had on the Kawasaki. I was really torn. I knew I wanted it on the back just because I don't like the way it looks, especially in camera footage on the front. But we know the back end of pretty much all quads I've ever rode. The back end is always lighter than the front. The front is where all the weight is. The engine is closer to the front than it is to the back. So extra weight in the back is not a bad thing. So that's another reason why I wanted them back here. But also just in the looks department, I think it looks better. But anyways, this is how I mounted it. So I went ahead and I used that universal mounting plate. Let me see if I can get this off one-handed. Yeah, there we go. Ugh. And I need to wash this thing too. You can see I haven't washed it from our last ride. Go ahead and turn this one. I just had these sitting on there, by the way. I didn't have them, obviously, strapped down. Okay, so because of this link system, I love this system, by the way, this Link Q system, but they need a little more versatility, yeah. Link system, I don't know. Been on the Can-Am stuff for a long time, and I like it. I love the versatility. Now, Matt and Josh, they can't put this on the back of theirs because they carry the coolers. But typically we don't eat or drink that much on the trails, so I just put my stuff in theirs. That's why I've got the storage container that allows me to store the, action camera, batteries, and all that crap. I was only able to put 2 fasteners in this, and essentially I've got it mounted similar to what I had it mounted on my Kawasaki. You can see, maybe the camera will help focus a little bit. See that little bracket right there? I just bought those 2 steel plates, doubled up a steel plate, approximately 5 inches from hole to hole. And I've got some square nuts on the bottom, 2 screws down to the top, tension. And this thing, you can see in the front, we've got a little bit of movement. I don't care about that because once the fuel tank and the other canisters on here, you don't notice it. And I'm having to push really hard just to get it to move that much. So it would be nice if I could have another fastener somewhere on the front of it. because I don't want to mess up this link rack, I'm not doing it. This will be good enough. This holds extreme. You can see I'm moving the entire machine. It's gonna hold. It's gonna hold just fine. I was torn. I thought about getting the double system. So this is a single Rotopax tie down, or whatever you want to call it, bracket. I thought about getting the Linkage Bracket, from JDS Customs or whatever it is, where I can double up, and I could have just put the fuel tank on the bottom and then the storage container. And I might still go back to that. I might order that system and just stack double. That way I've got the sides of my racks available and just stack that double right in the center. But come on, man. Can-Am should do better than this. They should have it set up to where I can fit one side by side without having to use that universal mount. That's kind of the point of this link system. But either way, this is going to be fine. The one thing I didn't do, and I wish I would have done, is put some thread locker on those nuts, but it'll be fine. I didn't do that on my Kawasaki, and it never loosened up, so no problem there. This thing is super tight, so don't think I'll have a problem just hauling those two small Rotopacks. And I think that's going to just about do it for modifications on this rig. It's been a process, but I just wanted to get it out of the way as quickly as possible. I still need to fasten my LED light button. I've got this 3M sticky stuff. This stuff works really well. Need to fasten it or get it glued, but I need to put these panels back on. Need to get everything buttoned back up. You can see that the Lexcel is drying very nicely. It's nice and hard now, and I'm not gonna have any problems there. I love it, man. This is just gonna be an awesome trail machine. I am prepped for the trails. I'm ready to rock and roll. I think that's gonna do it. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you guys got, a little bit of information from me on this, how I'm setting my rig up. Once again, we ride in the Ozark Mountains of Arkansas, and everything that I've done to this machine was specific to what we like to do. We don't go to mud parks. We're not doing, this deep mud bogging stuff. We'll go through a mud hole or two here and there, but we like fast-paced trail rides, rocky, technical, slow down, challenging Ozark mountain trails, if you've ever been there. That's what we like. That's what I got this rig set up to do, and I am certainly proud of it. If you guys like the video, please like and subscribe. Hit that like button. Smash that subscribe button for me. I really appreciate it. We'll see you guys on the next one. See you guys on the trails, actually. That's where we'll see you, because this rig is coming.